the right time to start is you should do some demos and then you should start working with producers. I actually think bands should, while it's a bit of a luxury thing and not everybody has the money, is like record 2 to 3 songs with one producer and then maybe another producer if that one didn't work out for you, and start learning. Because the one thing is too, like, you know, I have like a saying that I like to say to justify some actions in my life, but like, you know, don't marry the girl you lost your virginity to every time. Like,
I like it, yeah.
You know, go out there and see, there's a wonderful world of work, because then when you find the right person, you go, well, I've experimented enough and I know, you know, this one's A-okay with me. And say that as a 36-year-old single man. So,
well, you know what though, and the other thing too is, I think that depends on what you're writing at the current time too. You know what I mean? Like some bands, I'm going to cite a band like Alexis on Fire. Worked with the same producer, Julius Buddy, who I had the pleasure of working with, on every single one of their albums, because not the first one, but they found the guy that was just right for them, right?
Sure.
But a lot of different bands will work with different producers, and that doesn't mean that they didn't love what another producer did with their stuff. It just, you know, it might be what direction they're going with in that particular record, you know? So I think, you know, I think exactly what you're saying there. It's not, you know, maybe they have to be in a polygamous relationship,
yeah, well,
or serial monogamy.
What I think is really interesting thing that happened a lot more in the 90s, and that I don't see happen as much, that I think is kind of lost in a lot of groups, is like who you do your full lengths with is really going to be what you're remembered by. And I think a lot of bands don't get into that experimentation. They just go, well, I'm now going to commit to this person who I have no idea if it's going to work, just because I like their credits. And I'm going to now do 12 songs with them. And that could end your career, because that next full length is what you're measured by. You see so many bands when they have the wrong producer hookup, and the relationship's bad, that they kind of end their career with that bad move. And I guess like the other thing I would say is that, like, yeah, sometimes you do find the right person at first, but I think there is a thing of that you don't always know, and you don't know who could do better. And that's one of the weirdest things about these recordings, is like you don't have a lot of bands like Jimmy Eat World who've thrown away full records twice, like right before the mixing process, and just been like, you know, this isn't right. Is like most people don't.
Green Day have done that as well. Oh, yeah. Actually, yeah.
Oh, well, yeah. They claimed that one time that it got stolen.
Whether or not it's
no, that was not true, and I have the facts to prove.
Oh, okay.
That was a total lie. But they came out with one of their best records after that, and they were smart enough to do that.
They threw out the record, didn't they? That's
yeah. They threw out the record. That's the truth. That's the truth. Yeah. I mean, I have it on word from someone who worked on the record.
Oh, I believe it. It makes sense.
Yeah, and it's a much better story to say it got stolen.
Of course.
Then no one ever is asking for the reels to hear it.
Exactly.
So I think that was really smart strategy. I hate to blow up their spot like that. But, what do you call it? But so, I mean, it's a funny thing, because I've had some bands I've worked with that people don't enjoy their output after I've worked with them. And they're like, why don't they get back with you? I'm like, well, that's their decision as a creative person. They're trying out things. They're figuring maybe we'll make some records in the future. Maybe we won't. But like, so much of record production is about how somebody fills in their blanks. And so one of the big variables too is like, one, you know, we touched on meeting, is that like, yes, you have to have a working personality, and like how far do you want someone to go in? Like John Feldman, for example, will rewrite your entire song for you and maybe keep like 25% of it at times. Whereas I'm somebody who, like, generally you come to me and I'm going to go, well, let's do this, but I'm going to leave a semblance of a form. But I'm going to make sure like there's a great vibe. And then so another thing might be is that a record producer might come in and like you have a terrible, terrible drummer, but they're a guy who's really good with vocals. Then it's not going to work out so well when your drummer sounds terrible and he doesn't know how to make suggestions for making those beats work well with the vocal melodies and how to get the groove to actually work on this record. I pride myself that I can do everything pretty damn well, but I'm not like the world's greatest songwriter. I don't ever fully rewrite anybody's songs, with a very, very rare exception. And I think that's the thing, is you got to find who's going to do that. Because some bands, like, you know, if you're one of those Joey Sturgis bands, you kind of need that guy to kind of he's like almost like doing remixes of metal songs. Like you come in with like this kind of standard chug metal song, and then he's like putting in all these THX effects in it and skips and all this crazy stuff. And it's like, it's a whole new animal.